We live. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We live. We on the air. All right. We got Derek Thompson on the Circuit Show, which I've been trying to get this guy for a long time. He's been out in Phoenix and California, and it's just hard to catch up with him, hanging out with Benson and all the greats out there. You know, what's been going on, man?
Staying out of the light unless it got lime on it, Derek.
I knew you gonna have jokes. I said he gonna make the show live. It's gonna be a great performance, man. But I know you and I go way back, man. We go since we were kids. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, you kind of like you and I. I don't know about you, but you one of the first guys I got with when it comes to music as call ourselves having a little band or to get together, something like that. That was
Yeah.
really cool. I don't know what was in our heads. I think that we were gonna be stars. I guess we were just thinking we gonna make it, and do our thing. What brought you to music? I know my dad brought me to. What brought you into it?
The Jackson 5 and the Osmond brothers. We were
They were
all
popular.
kids. We were all kids when they were doing it, and I was excited to see kids doing it. And I
Okay,
had that love for music then, man. So that was a big inspiration for me, those two groups.
okay. So you
So,
watched them. Go ahead.
yep, I got my little folk guitar on my 8th Christmas, and it's crazy because I didn't even have anyone to show me how to hold it. So I grabbed it upside down and started hitting my first few notes that way, man, and just learned to play it that way. But I'm right-handed.
That's, but you are right-handed because I know you play
I play
left-handed.
right-handed bass, left-handed, but I'm right-handed. So kind of bass backwards.
So you said you mentioned a couple of musicians. So what kind of what musicians grabbed you and kind of motivated you and brought you into the fold that this is what you want to do? Because you could have been listening to country, you could have been Western, you could have been any kind of
West
music.
Montgomery, man. When I was a kid, that West Montgomery, that guitar flavor, the West Montgomery and the Grant Green and all of that stuff. A lot of my uncles used to play when I was a kid.
Okay,
Kind of stuck with me, as
all
far
right,
as getting interested in bass players. That all started when I got more into my teens with the George Clinton stuff and
all right, yeah, yeah.
the funky bass type stuff like that. And that one song, Frankenstein,
Dun, dun, dun,
Edgar
dun, dun,
Winter.
dun. Okay, okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I had some good ideas as a kid coming through the rank.
Okay, so you had good ideas. What surprised you as you was growing into the rank about being a musician? What threw you off that you didn't anticipate?
I had to say it again.
What surprised you as you became a musician? What something that you didn't anticipate?
Um,
Nothing
that,
surprised you? Everything
that's
was
the thing.
normal.
It's not much, man. I always wanted to do the music thing. I hadn't anticipated making it to the level that I did, though.
Okay, okay.
I
So
didn't anticipate rubbing the elbows that I got to rub with coming through the ranks.
okay, okay. So, well, tell us some people that you've met. I know you met some really cool, top-notch cats. That tell me three of them that really kind of maybe blew your mind, and maybe you thought, "Wow, I never thought this would happen." The person that you met.
Marcus Miller,
Okay,
George Benson, George Duke.
right.
Those are
Okay,
four of the greats.
okay.
Bernard Wright,
Hmm.
and the list goes on, man.
Well, give me an interesting story about one or two of them that something that happened that you can tell, but we ain't gonna get no trouble if you tell it. You can get
No, no,
away with
no, no. Bernard Wright, very good friend of mine, great pianist. God rest his soul.
it. Uh-huh.
Um, I hooked up with Bernard when I was in Phoenix, and that was an exciting thing because he was a great pianist at the age of
Okay.
16. Roberta Flack's son,
Okay.
and to link up with him, man, that was um that was one of the greatest things ever, man. I learned so much from him.
Okay.
as
Yeah.
far as staying in my lane as a musician. Between Bernard and Marcus Miller, you stay in your lane.
Mhm.
You do your part, and they're both solo artists, man. And yeah, that was one of the craziest things, man. But Bernard was, I got some hella stories, but I'm not going to go into those. But
Okay.
he's a wonderful cat to meet, man, and very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. It's Roberta Flack's son. So of course he stumped the circle with some of the greatest artists in the world, man. With Roberta being his mom and all. I had a chance to have a video call with Layla Hathaway. That's his god sister.
Wow.
You know, of course it would be because everything that Roberta did, Donny Hathaway was there.
Okay. Okay.
So when he had Layla, of course she's gonna be the godmother. So that's his god sister, and I had a chance to have a video chat with her. That even pushed me a little further.
Okay. So
Yeah, baby.
when you're around these people, how do you feel? Do you try to stay cool, or do you try to, or do you say I'm one of your favorite fans, or do you let them know and shower them with some how great they are type of things?
They are just real people too, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All of them, the greatest names you ever hear. They're just real people too, and none of them poop fruit salad or nothing like that. They all people just like we are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just get to be you. Either
So
the
you never
you
been
is
starstruck.
acceptable, huh?
You never been starstruck.
No, no, no. Maybe no, no. I haven't. No,
Mhm.
it had a well. I had family that worked for Motown.
Okay.
And I got to see a lot of Motown artists when I was a kid, but it really didn't mean anything then.
Okay.
I mean, I was a kid. I was ready to go back out and play. Yeah, no, was never really starstruck. And they say a lot of people ask, "Do I get nervous when I go on stage to perform and stuff like that?" And
Mhm.
I have to say no because to me, the biggest audience is the biggest party.
Okay.
So I like to, yeah, the bigger the crowd, the better performance I feel that I'm coming to do.
So what are some of the things that musicians don't talk about? There's a lot of people are watching a podcast, and they're always curious because you see people do air guitar and piano and all that kind of stuff. They like, wish they were musicians, but they're not. What are some things that you could tell them that uh, they would be, I don't know, amazed, or things that we talk about that we don't like? I know a lot of times when I'm with cats, we may say some things behind stage about some of the performance or something we were doing to try to hold the groove and everything, but the audience don't know it. Our keys to like a baseball player when the pitcher's throwing to the hind catcher's doing all kinds of signs and symbols, and the pitcher knows what to do. What are some of those type of things that the audience doesn't know anything about? As far as that you've experienced.
Um, Everything you hear up there is ideas. Everything that you do, Derek, is an idea.
Hmm.
Everything I do is ideas, and it's about how you apply your ideas. You know what I mean? And no matter what it is, the things that you think are the most difficult, go for them and figure the simplicity of them.
Hmm.
That's the key to figure the simplicity of it. You know what I mean? Because everything is actually elementary once you simplify it. And that's a big thing for me is to try to take the hardest things and make it simple
So are you watching the reaction of the people of what you do so you can bounce back about, if you maybe made a
all the
wrong
time,
move all the time?
all the
Okay.
time.
So you looking for smiles, and you look for dances, you look for sway back and forth. What is it you
Yeah,
look for when you're playing?
yeah. It's like you could be on stage, and of course you're gonna make certain movements or
Okay.
make certain efforts towards certain licks or something like that, and then
Uh-huh,
you're gonna
uh-huh.
look and you have to yeah. Your audience is your critics,
Okay.
so you have to read your audiences as well. And okay, that's one I can write down. I can keep that
Hmm.
mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lot that you write down mentally and just keep it. And you could do that again in certain stuff like, oh, hell no, that didn't work out real good. So,
I
yeah.
know a lot of audience talk about some musicians that don't move. Do you move in your shows, or do you stay kind of solid?
Um,
Do you move
I'm
with the music?
somewhat
Do you dance
animated. I'm
around?
kind of animated.
Okay.
kind of animated on stage, but most time I stay in my lane
Okay.
until that light comes on. Till that light comes on, that's when you get to do what you're gonna do. Other than
Okay.
that, it's real important to stay in your lane and do your part.
Got it. Got it.
You can have some animation, you still make it showman, but you stay in your lane. That's the important thing, to stay in your lane and do your part.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do about volume wise when it comes to guitar players or drummers? Somebody's always too loud, over blasting. Do you talk to them about it, or do you? I know you manage a lot of bands. I'm going to ask you next question about how do you balance all that stuff. But how do you handle that when you work very loud musicians that they're not conscious of that they're loud. They thinking they playing at the same volume as everybody else.
Uh, Honestly, I said, man, you are loud.
You just come out
I'm like, now come on, man.
doing
Now
this,
come
doing
on
the
now.
set, doing the show.
You
You're
way over
loud.
the singer. I say, so you have to bring it down. And my thing is, I like to, your stage volume is real important.
It's very important. I
It's
agree.
very important, man. And if you can't hear the bass on stage, damn it, you're too loud.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Uh,
you're too loud. And there's nothing like a good chemistry mix of sound on stage
mhm,
for what's going out there to the people.
mhm, mhm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I'll tell them.
Yeah. I've heard people say when I go out of town that a lot of cats have this bass player, especially have this Detroit sound. Are you familiar with? Would anyone tell you that you got that Detroit sound? Have you ever heard that phrase before? Because
I have not.
you have
I
not.
have not.
Oh,
I've
okay,
never heard that one.
okay, okay.
I've
So
heard
you
I've heard that I had like that Midwest or East Coast kind of flavor,
okay, okay,
but
all
never
right,
the Detroit sound.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think Detroit musicians have a certain sound like I know there's a Motown sound. Maybe that could be something we could point to, but a certain type of flavor, a certain way of doing things when it comes to music? What's your findings? What's your field say?
I can't really say that they do. I can't really say that they do. Even the flavors that's considered to be probably the Detroit sound
Mhm.
was something that was heard from somewhere else, anyways. If you
Well,
ask,
well, I'm asking because I also know that a lot of times when you hear cats from New York versus New Orleans or Chicago
right,
versus
right,
California, there's certain phrases they do. You say, "Oh yeah, they do that phrase all the time." That certain. I
yeah,
can't really
yeah,
put my finger on it. Or maybe Memphis or maybe Alabama, Mississippi down there. They got a certain
now
twang that they do.
they do have a Southern flavor
Okay,
that's recognized as a Southern flavor.
talk about that. Let me hear your take on that.
Um, just like it's a song that's very popular called "I Got My Boots on the Ground."
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very popular song, but it is very familiar bass tones,
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
familiar bass direction. The whole direction is kind of old schoolish, but it's southern soul bluesy at the same time. And you
Okay,
could tell that it's southern sound.
okay,
Now you could tell certain flavors from Chicago area because they love to play the music that's easy to step to.
okay. All right.
You know
I
what I mean?
didn't think
They
about
love
it. Yeah,
to
you're
they
right.
love to do this is it yeah, stepping.
Stepping.
Detroit is more for the ballroomy.
Okay,
So you can tell the different it's like cultures.
okay,
You can tell the different cultures, man, but that southern sound, you cannot mistake it.
okay.
And I'm just like Derek Washington. I like all flavors.
Try to do all flavors. I hear you. I hear you.
I
Um.
love all flavors, man. Baskin Robbins.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
how many instruments do you play?
I play 7 instruments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
got it
think I've ever
in there.
seen
I
you
play
play
bass,
drums.
lead, play drums, play keys, play percussion, um, play a little bit of saxophone, and I play a little harmonica. I can even play violin a little bit.
Okay. So how
Enough
do
to
you?
get on stage and do it.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna ask you to do it next time I see you. I say,
Yeah.
play the How do you balance that creativity of your music with business? I know you run a couple bands as well. How do you balance that way, being the manager, or make sure everybody shows up on time, make sure everybody thinks all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed? How do you balance that? DT.
You have to create a self ledger.
Okay.
You have to create a self ledger for yourself for your time that you're going to go do your rehearsing.
Hmm.
You know that you have to do this business portion, so you have a time allotted for that. You have to have a time that's allotted for just maybe doing things like setting up your rooms and all of that different stuff too. But as far as just setting, you have to allot time for rehearsal or
Okay.
shedding, as we call it,
Okay.
if
All
you
right.
will. So yeah, it's like setting up a ledger. Go by that ledger.
Hmm.
That hardly ever works, but it does work when you have to apply it.
When you have leadership that like to be creative and who are the
Yeah,
lead on that, they try to mix it up or don't want to do the same thing over and
right.
over.
And
And
I am definitely the type of a musician, man, that I like to work with reputable other musicians,
mhm.
and I like everyone's voice on stage to be valid instead of me just being a shot caller.
Okay.
I like
Okay.
everyone's voice to be valid. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
a person just recently asked me, said, because I'm doing a show this coming Friday at Cola's Lounge, Cola's Ultra Lounge in Farmington Hills, Friday, June 5th. And the cat that booked me for the performance, he like, yeah, man, your saxophone player, this, that, and other is really hot, and this, that. And he said, man, but I want to hear you do a little bit more solo stuff on bass.
Yeah, okay, you're
I
good.
was- and I tell him what I tell anyone. When it's time for my light to come on, I'll give you what you're asking for. Other than that,
Yeah,
I'm gonna stay in my lane.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson you learned the hard way though on your musical journey? What's something you say I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have, what's the
If there's a lesson as far as allowing you growth in your craft,
hmm
receive it. Even if it's the most minute, if it's a small thing, you receive it. Because I had the opportunity I had an instructor that was teaching me to sight read when I was in Job Corps, and his name was Kevin Murphy. He was a guitar player with Lou Rawls.
okay.
I got part of my lesson, but my other part was out there wanting to run behind the women with the ladies and all of that type of stuff. And I did not get the lesson that was presented to me that I should have accepted. And that is
What
one of my only regrets in life.
what would that
It,
lesson be?
that's
Not to
in life
chase?
too. Huh?
What would that lesson be? Not to be on the chase, on the hunt, or what would you learn when it comes to being a
Uh,
because you got people on stage and you got people who love what you do, they watch you. What would you tell somebody from high school, what to expect as they growing and making their craft be something of the musical field?
if there's something that's going to allow you some growth in the other thing that you wanted to chase after, anything you chase is the hardest thing to catch. So if there's something that's going to allow you something that's going to help you to grow, and that other thing is going to still be there after you've got your lesson for growth, follow it, go after it then. But
Mhm.
get that little lesson, man. You got to get that. And
So
it all comes together in the end.
so how have you evolved? Let's say from as a kid playing to what you about 30 now, 30, 32 years old, you know,
Yeah.
how yeah, you ain't flinching. Yeah, yeah, I'm about 32. How have you evolved? Tell me your evolvement. You went from playing one way, but now you're this way. You have advanced. You're more experienced now. Tell me how that ripple effect worked.
It's all about like I mentioned before, all those small lessons all gather and you continue to keep them, but even once you get up the experience that we have, all of the stuff from your upcoming in the game
Hmm.
is still there as well.
Okay.
And you can still apply that as well to the new school.
Okay. Okay.
It does. So Everything that you can grab, grab it and hold on to it, man.
Right.
For real, grab it and hold it.
So how do you feel about AI and all this music that they're using with AI and
AI. Now I think he was one of the baddest ball players ever. He had this crossover. Talking about Allen Iverson. I
I
think it
guess
was the greatest, man.
I should have seen that coming.
Yeah, you walked into that with both feet.
Right, right, right. But people, how do you feel when people copy other people's music and then record it and get it out there? And also, have you been copied? Have you copied someone else's stuff sometime and played it
Of
into
course,
a
both
recording that's
both
been for
ways.
sale?
I've definitely I've copied ideas instead of just verbatim of other artists and stuff like that. And then there's others that copied stuff that I do.
Okay.
So is that considered AI?
No, but the AI portion that I was asking about, when people are creating music with their computers and then
Yeah.
selling it, and they just but, I always thought myself, and I'm not trying to the interview is about me, but when people start using sequence music and start cutting out other musicians, like a sax player or a keyboard player, or just do a show by themselves, well,
Yeah.
then that puts us out of a job, you know what I'm saying?
Like we
So,
know a few of those.
oh, well, I'm not calling any names, but 'cause
Neither
I
am
gotta
I.
interview them. I gotta do something. I'm not going. I'm not throwing nobody under the bus. I'm just saying, and then even them that were doing that by themselves. Some of them are coming back to bands now. They started, yeah, let me get me a team back together.
A
So
lot of the cats that's doing the solo and duo type stuff,
uh-huh.
they know that it's not as effective as live musicians.
Right, right, right,
And when
right.
they're doing it that way, that is what we consider a job.
Yeah.
That is strictly to make the money
Hmm.
instead of the actual reputation of a real musician. A real
Okay.
musician gonna have real musicians. It's
Okay.
it's real easy because we both have skill with piano, and we both know how to create songs with one piano, and then put our instrument with everything we did on the piano. I agree, it's not really fair, and I don't know. I just prefer real musicianship.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about the pay scale? Because a lot of times I've heard a lot of some other cats that are on YouTube talk about that musicians should not take less money. Don't you ruin it for the rest of us? You should make sure you charge X amount of dollars so we all can stay on par on making. But who makes that decision on how much money we all should be making? And then the people who are just now getting out there, garage and basement performers are trying to get this establishment. They cannot demand a higher pay when they're not skilled. So how do you address that?
You have to create standards for yourself.
Mhm.
And me personally, I have a standard. I feel that I'm reputable as a musician, so there's certain standards. I mean, I'm not trying to put any other man that's working down, but
Right.
to play from 8 to 12 or 8 to 1 o'clock for $100 is not a good thing for me because you're
Okay.
gonna live
Yeah.
on somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you have to go for a ransom every performance,
Hmm.
but you still have to have your standards, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And you're not knocking no one else if they want to do that. That's
No,
their
I'm not
thing.
knocking anyone else. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking any other brother that's working. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
But that's with anything, man. You this podcast that we're doing, there's a standard that is created for what you're doing
Yeah.
properly, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so you're not gonna downsize your show because one thinks it shouldn't have been this, it shouldn't have been that. You know what your standard is, you know what you wanted it to be. And I'm really privileged to be here right now, for real.
Man, yeah, I appreciate you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you being on this show, and those that are coming up behind you because people will see that and they say, "Oh man, the questions were good." Good questions that I'm getting a lot of compliments here and there about how we presented the show, and I'm always trying to present the show so that I mean everybody I'm bringing on so far I've known for years anyway, so I have a relationship with them to some degree, you know. But the relationship I'm trying to also get started is those who are watching the podcast who are younger than us, who are going to carry on that torch. What are you going to tell the younger folks that are going to carry the torch on beyond what you've done so far? I know you've established a good foundation for a lot of young people that surround you, that watches you. When they come up to you with that, that star in their eyes, looking at you, and ask you to sign their autographs, what do you tell them? What do stay in school or work on you? What advice do you give them?
If you're creative, stay creative. If you're doing well in school, continue to do well. If you have an interest in something in life that you want to go with you through your life, give it your best to achieve at it. Give it your very best to achieve at it. If you want to be, I'm going to say a bass player, give it your very best. And me being the guy I am, I really want to instruct some of the kids here. I'll give them every bit of knowledge that I have to
Mhm.
watch them succeed in it. And there would be no greater reward to hear some kids say, I learned from him.
Yeah, yeah.
I learned
So,
from Dick.
so the next question: what excites you about music, today's music versus yesterday's music, from the '70s versus to the '90s versus to the 2020s and on? What excites
What
you?
excites me, um, I got to be honest, man, a lot of the gospel stuff
Get out. Okay.
excites me, and
Okay.
because some of the gospel rhythm stuff now is way, way beyond anything I had ever heard coming up. As
Okay.
far as bass licks and just some of the intricate natures of it all, man. I would say gospel is one of the things that really excite me now,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I'm no good at it. No, I'm just kidding.
So, as we come into a close, what type of bass do you have, and what type of strings you use, and what type of amplifier do you like to talk
Here's
to me
my
a little bit
baby,
about
right?
that? Okay, you got
This
one
is
there.
my main thing. I play a 5-string Ken Smith,
All right.
5, and I use Ernie Ball strings as well on my bass.
One out of six and one out of four.
This is where I'm most effective. To go with the 6, I think that's an overkill for bases. For me, I can play a 6 string, but I like a 5 or a 4. I like the 5 because I like the lower bottom,
Okay.
and I like the option of going lower.
And you say you use Alexars on strings?
No, I use Ernie Balls or
Ernie
either
balls. Okay.
stay in tunes.
Okay. And what when you go to a stage and they ask you your amplification preference, on the writer, what do you tell them you want on the writer besides maybe M&Ms and a sandwich and cold beer or something?
Harky.
Hockey, okay. The 410s or a
I I,
multiple?
I I like the Harky 410, the Harky thousand watt head.
Okay.
I like the 3500 too,
Okay.
but definitely Harky.
All right. And what was it about the hockey and your bass and the strings that you like the most? What is it?
The how they incorporate the clarity, the way that
Okay.
they incorporate with each other.
Okay.
And with any instrument in your amplifier, there's only one right sound. Like you heard me say that.
Hmm.
With that Harky setup in this bass, I always get it. Don't take me. It's not hard for me to get the right tone that I want.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I love this bass, and I love Harky amplification.
All right.
Make
Well,
sure they see this.
one of the questions that I've asked every musician and other talented people that I've been talking to, it's a similar question, but if you could pick and choose, dead or alive, the people that you would want on stage, and you've mentioned quite a handful of great actors and not actors, but musicians and female vocalists, who would you have on stage and that you think would just really do it for you? You say, oh man, I'm on stage with all my favorite musicians and entertainers and singers. And it could be just you and one other person, or you and 10 other people, and it could be dead or alive. It could be going on. Who would you pick?
Female vocalist,
Whole gambit The whole stage.
The whole stage?
The whole stage. Who would turn you on? What would be your turn on that would excite you? And you say, okay, I can go ahead and die and go to heaven now.
This is strange, man. It's actually a lot of cats that I work with today.
Okay.
You dig? The female vocalist would be my type would be Rochelle Farrell.
She is good.
6-octave range. I love Rochelle. Chick on keys.
Okay.
Me on bass.
Okay, yeah. Oh, of course.
I love working with Bubby. I'd probably have Bubby on drum.
Yeah, I got to be interviewing him pretty soon. So
Yeah.
he'll probably say the same
I
thing
would
about
have
you.
Pat Metheny on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Don Elias on percussion. Keith McKelly on saxophone, wind control.
Okay.
Lee Morgan on trumpet.
Okay.
And that would be about it.
That'll be your all-star team.
That would be my all-star team.
Okay. Well, I appreciate this round of you giving me the opportunity to interview. I always give my guests a chance if they had any questions that they wanted to ask me. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If you had any questions for me about what I do, what I've been doing, where I'm going, whatever's happening in my life, whatever, you get one chance, one shot, one fire. And I may answer it, I may not answer it. It just depends on how deep this question is. But if you don't, that's all good too.
Okay, what is your direction from here?
My direction here is to try to enhance and get more participants to see the show, and then keep pushing it, and then advertise some of the products that I have, products that are already out there, products that I use, and try to get some type of monetary value out of it. But I talked to some other people that are podcaster, and say, if you don't do it because you love it, then you're in the wrong business. Huh? Oh, look at there. Where you get that from? I mean, somebody told me, that they really appreciate the product, and it's working wonders for them. So it just makes me feel good when people are using it. I'm saying somebody seen my Ken Smith that sold me my Ken Smith, and they see all the wear and tear, and they said, "Man, I'd love to see somebody who has purchased an instrument and the wear and tears, and I can tell that they blood, sweat, and tears all into it." So.
Well, that is an amazing product, the LED strap, guitar and bass strap. And I would advise any musician that's a bass or string instrument player, get it. If you want to be on stage with a little excitement in your corner, get that LED, but that DC's LED for your bass. I don't care when nobody's sitting in the room, they gonna stop and look at that strap once you turn it on.
What is that? I know.
I
Let me get my camera. Let me
on
see
that
this before. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
I
That is definitely
appreciate the
intent.
interview, man. Be in touch with me, please.
Man, you are the man. You are the man. I appreciate it.
You're
Nothing
more
but
than
love,
welcome.
man. We'll be in touch, but again, thank you so much for doing the interview.
You are
This'll
more
be
than
out.
welcome. It really was. I love you, man. We'll be in touch.
Love you too, man. All right. Talk to you later. Peace.
Yeah.